This episode is supported by FX's Grotesquerie, a new series from executive producer Ryan Murphy. Heinous crimes unsettle a small community, and the local detective feels these atrocities are eerily personal, as if someone or something is taunting her. Starring Niecy Nash-Betts, Courtney B. Vance, Leslie Manville, and Travis Kelce. FX's Grotesquerie premieres September 25th on FX. Stream on Hulu.
Hey, dude! Have you tried Hey Dude? Hey Dude shoes have an ultra lightweight design and velvety softness that feels like floating on clouds. They slip on so easily, you'll want them every time you leave the house. And just like your phone and your keys, you might occasionally check you're even still wearing them. They're so comfy. Hey Dude shoes. Shoes so comfortable, you'll say, dude! Step into effortless style and try a pair at heydudeshoes.com.
Building a portfolio with Fidelity Basket Portfolios is kind of like making a sandwich. It's as simple as picking your stocks and ETFs, sort of like your meats and other toppings, and managing it as one big, juicy investment. Now that's pretty good. Learn more at fidelity.com/baskets. Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Thanks for listening to the Red Treehouse, where I tell scary stories to keep you up at night. You can listen to the Red Treehouse on your favorite streaming platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe. Oh, and leave a 5-star review. You can follow the Red Treehouse on social media, on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, X, Threads, and Facebook at Red Treehouse Pod. And now you can find the Red Treehouse on Patreon. Join the Red Treehouse community for as little as $3 per month and receive exclusive member benefits, including personal shoutouts, early access to episodes, bonus episodes, and more. Simply go to patreon.com/Red Treehouse. As always, if you have a scary story or topic you'd like me to feature on an upcoming episode, email redtreehousepod@gmail.com. Important note, sources for this episode can be found in the show notes. The Red Treehouse is dedicated to my dad. I love you, Pop. Growing up in the 90s, our family had a nightly ritual of sorts. We'd eat dinner and put on a show or two before going to bed. I remember watching The Simpsons, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Family Matters, and my all-time favorite, The X-Files. Whenever someone laments about the good old days, the 90s quickly come to mind. On those nights when we stayed up a bit later to finish a show, a now famous public service announcement played at exactly 10 p.m.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
As a kid, it freaked me out a little bit. The possibility that anyone could go missing, let alone a child, had never really registered in my thinking. As I got older, of course, I knew better. I've mentioned it in passing in previous episodes, but of all the phenomenon in the world around us, mysterious disappearances really scare me. There's something terrifying about the reality that someone can simply vanish without a trace, and with no proof they've fallen victim to a crime. And here's the thing. It happens way more than we realize. According to one report, nearly 600,000 people go missing every year in the United States, with over 100,000 of those cases considered active and open. The ripple effect of these cases is immense, with family and friends left wondering what happened to their loved ones. In 1989, a strange missing persons case unfolded in Chicago, Illinois. A low-quality, black and white picture of a woman, only known as Joanna Lopez, was broadcast into homes with an alert indicating she was missing, and a phone number to call with information. Though unusual, this wasn't necessarily uncommon. Except, it's very possible Joanna Lopez not only wasn't missing, but she didn't exist at all. In this episode of the Red Treehouse, we're going to explore the strange and scary disappearance of Joanna Lopez. Was she a real person who went missing in 1989? Or is this case just an elaborate urban legend? I'll share the story. You decide for yourself. I'm your host, Will. Welcome to the Red Treehouse.
Make this new school year an opportunity for your kids to learn important life skills with Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families where kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely, while parents keep an eye on kids' money habits. Greenlight also helps families get into their fall routine with a chores feature that lets parents assign chores and pay kids allowance when they check them off. Get your first month free at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
The story of Joanna Lopez is part mystery and part urban legend, with a wide range of theories to explain the story. But what makes this case doubly eerie is information is scarce, possibly because Joanna Lopez never existed in the first place. On the evening of January 14th, 1989, WMAQ Chicago, an NBC television affiliate, signed off from its broadcast. Back then, television stations used to sign off late at night, sometimes around midnight or 1 a.m., because it was believed viewership went down significantly in the middle of the night. The sign-off signaled the station was going off air, and each station had a different sign-off sequence. On this night, WMAQ signed off with the national anthem, which was common for many television stations at the time. But then immediately after the anthem concluded, a picture appeared on the screen. It was a low-quality, black and white photo of a woman in a white t-shirt and what appeared to be glasses. Across the top left corner was the word "missing," and underneath the photo was the woman's name, Joanna Lopez, and a phone number, 312-744-5594. At first glance, this didn't seem all that strange. After all, a PSA for a missing woman is important and not uncommon. Except, the PSA stayed on the screen for nearly 7 hours. There was no audio accompanying the video footage, no description of the woman, and nothing to aid the public in searching for and hopefully finding her. The poster did not share Joanna's height, weight, age, hair color, eye color, the last time she was seen, or even how long she'd been missing. There was no family information, who to call if anyone had information or she was found. Just a silent announcement with a low-quality picture. In fact, the picture quality was so low, it was nearly impossible to recognize any of Joanna's facial features. Something interesting. The phone number at the bottom of the poster was assumed to be connected to the Chicago Police Department. Except when people tried calling the number, no one picked up. One article stated, quote, "The phone number actually reveals one of the very, very few clues. It rings up a division of the Chicago PD, which specifically handles missing juveniles. So at the very least, we know she is a minor." End quote. Despite the hours-long announcement and the phone number, the case eventually went cold. Then, in 1991, something strange happened. The same photo of Joanna Lopez aired again after WMAQ signed off for the night. Except this time, it aired for only a few seconds before being pulled. It seemed Joanna was still missing nearly 2 years after the poster originally aired. You can find the video on YouTube, and I've included a link in the show notes. This was all strange for sure. But there's something else. Not only did no one answer the number on the poster, but there were no police reports on Joanna at all. In fact, there is no record of Joanna Lopez in the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children registries. Her picture did not appear in any newspaper, local, regional, or national. The number on the poster indicates Joanna may have been a minor at the time of her disappearance. But because the calls to the listed number went unanswered, it is nearly impossible to know for sure. And to this day, Joanna's case has not been solved. And as you can imagine, a wide range of theories have come up since the alert first went out over 35 years ago.
This episode is brought to you by Ring cameras and doorbells. A lot happens while you're away from home. That's why Ring makes it easy to check in from anywhere. Whether you're saying hi to an unexpected guest, making sure those packages are safe, or keeping your pets company while you're out grabbing groceries. It's all a few taps away, right from your phone. Be there with Ring. Explore cameras, doorbells, alarm kits, and more right now at ring.com.
There are some who believe Joanna Lopez was indeed a real person, who simply ran away from home prior to the missing poster airing. One article stated, quote, "Her parents might have told WMAQ to put on Joanna's picture on television to help contact her, or if anyone saw her." End quote. The runaway theory is harrowing because of the lack of information surrounding her case. It is assumed Joanna was a minor at the time of her disappearance, and because cell phones were not readily accessible by the public, it means Joanna left home and vanished without a trace. There are others who believe Joanna is the identity of a young woman who was murdered in 1994 in Chicago. The young woman in that case is known as Chicago Jane Doe, and she was believed to be the victim of Gregory Klepper, a suspected serial killer who claimed he met the still unidentified victim in Woodlawn. Initial reports indicated the victim was around 15 years old. However, this was later corrected to between 18 to 22 years old. The connection to Joanna Lopez is unclear. However, some argue the picture of Joanna Lopez and the sketch of Jane Doe are similar, as are the ages of both young women. A less popular theory is, quote, WMAQ was probably tricking, scaring people, or conducting a test for a photo when she first came on television, end quote. Of all the possibilities, this one seems the least likely. Is it possible WMAQ put up Joanna's picture to scare people? Sure, it's not outside the realm of possibility, but it's likely outside the realm of probability. It's hard to imagine a television station purposely scaring people with this kind of announcement, because while every disappearance is both tragic and scary, the disappearance of a minor is even more so. So for me at least, intentionally scaring an entire community seems outside the bounds of reason. Perhaps the most common theory, and for me the most likely, is that Joanna Lopez simply didn't exist. In the 35 years since the poster aired, her case has become an urban legend. Attached to this theory is the belief someone hacked into WMAQ in 1989 and 1991 and put Joanna's picture up after the national anthem sign-off. In recent years, websites like Reddit have kept Joanna's case alive, with some claiming she may have been found. 3 years ago, the author of a post entitled Major News, Joanna Lopez may have just been found, claimed to have gotten off the phone with, quote, a Joanna Lopez from Chicago who ran away from home in 1989, end quote. The post continued by saying that it could be the Joanna Lopez from the infamous poster, but eventually provided an update 3 months later, indicating they could not get a hold of the person. An update 1 year later indicated contact had been lost with the person and would not be resumed. I took an interest in this case a few weeks back. I sort of stumbled on it and was intrigued by the whole thing. And I'll admit, I'm torn about this, because my gut instinct is to take this case at face value, if for no other reason than safety. If we assume Joanna Lopez is not a real person, and she is, then it potentially puts her at greater risk. At the same time, if Joanna Lopez is not a real person, then all of this discussion and speculation is unnecessary. And admittedly, there's something compelling about the possibility that Joanna Lopez isn't real. The lack of identifying information, the unanswered phone calls to the number listed on the poster, and the eerie black and white photo. And what about her family? If Joanna was real, why did we not hear from them? Why was the only contact number an unanswered line? As unsettling as it is to believe Joanna is still missing, it's somewhat comforting to think she may not be real at all, because that means there's one less missing child out there somewhere. As we close this episode of the Red Treehouse, we're left with these lingering questions. Was Joanna Lopez a real person who went missing in 1989? Or is this case nothing more than an urban legend? I've shared the story. Now you decide for yourself. I'm your host, Will. Thanks for joining me in the Red Treehouse.